Welcome to the Dutton Ranch. Long before the modern Yellowstone empire rose from the dust, the battle for land, legacy, and blood had already begun. 1923 isn't just a prequel. It's a brutal, breathtaking saga of survival, set in a world where the old ways are dying and the new ones demand a heavy price. From African lion hunts to Montana shootouts, this is the untold story of how the Duttons became legends. One war, one heartbreak, and one bullet at a time. The season begins with a striking flash forward. Cara Dutton, matriarch of the Yellowstone Ranch, is seen hunting down a man in Africa. The target had brought harm to the Dutton family, and with chilling determination, she kills him in a standoff. This act of vengeance sets the tone for a tale of hardship, love, and blood loyalty. Meanwhile, her nephew Spencer Dutton, a seasoned big-game hunter haunted by the ghosts of World War I, is introduced in the wilds of Africa. He shoots a rampaging lion before traveling to Nairobi, where he's hired to track a man-eating leopard terrorizing a safari camp. Thousands of miles away, in Montana, Jacob Dutton, brother to James Dutton and the current patriarch, surveys the scorched earth of his ranch, devastated by drought and locust swarms. The harsh terrain reflects the worsening economic and environmental conditions threatening the cattle industry. Jacob presides over a tense meeting of the Montana Livestock Association, where he rules against a group of Scottish immigrant sheep herders led by Banner Creighton. Banner and his men are trespassing on cattle grazing lands, driven by desperation to feed their starving flocks. Back at the Yellowstone Ranch, young Jack Dutton, Jacob's great-nephew, prepares to marry Elizabeth Strafford, the daughter of a neighboring ranching family. However, duty intervenes, and Jack must help move their cattle to higher ground. His sudden departure stirs tension, leaving Cara to smooth things over with the bride's dismayed family. Elsewhere in the hills, Jack and his party encounter a herd of sheep trespassing on Dutton land. A confrontation escalates, and Jack is ambushed and shot. While this unfolds, far from the open plains, a far more sinister narrative plays out at a Catholic-run Indian boarding school. Tiana Rainwater, a young native girl, suffers brutal abuse at the hands of Sister Mary. When Tiana fights back, the response is even more vicious. Father Renaud, the school's headmaster, metes out cruel punishment, and the trauma deepens. Jacob and his cowboys come to Jack's rescue, executing 5 of the sheep herders in retribution, but Banner escapes. As an act of reluctant mercy or perhaps political strategy, Jacob orders the confiscated sheep to be handed over to Native American riders to support nearby reservations grappling with starvation. Tiana's grandmother, Isaksh, seeks justice for her granddaughter and appeals to the superintendent of government boarding schools for custody. In Kenya, after tracking and killing the pair of leopards, Spencer crosses paths with a spirited British woman named Alexandra. Their chemistry is immediate. Drawn to his rugged world, Alex breaks off her engagement and joins Spencer on his next assignment in the Serengeti. Their romance blooms amid the dangerous African wilderness. Back in Montana, Banner, wounded and seething, limps back home and begins rallying his men for revenge. Jacob and his nephews ride into town to report the herders' offenses to the sheriff. On their return trip to the ranch, tragedy strikes. The Duttons are ambushed. John Dutton Sr., Jack's father, is killed while Jacob and Elizabeth suffer grave injuries. Reinforcements arrive and eliminate most of the attackers, but Banner once again escapes. As Jacob hovers near death, Cara writes a desperate letter to Spencer, pleading with him to come home and help protect their land. In Africa, Spencer proposes to Alexandra just before saving her from a charging elephant and a pride of lions. The action cuts back to Montana, where Jacob remains bedridden and Elizabeth's mother urges her to move east for safety. Banner, now nearly mythic in his rage, turns to mining magnate Donald Whitfield, a ruthless man who sees the crumbling cattle business as an opportunity to expand his empire. Whitfield agrees to back Banner's war on the Duttons. Cara steps into a leadership role on the ranch, managing affairs while maintaining the illusion that Jacob has gone to Wyoming to hunt cattle thieves. At a livestock association meeting, she successfully convinces the members to adopt Jacob's plan for a formalized livestock police force. Meanwhile, Tiana's suffering reaches its peak. After enduring relentless abuse, she finally snaps, killing Sister Mary and fleeing the school. Spencer grows ever closer to Alexandra as he receives Kara's letter detailing the bloodshed in Montana. A new urgency propels him. Back home, John's widow, Emma, consumed by grief and despair, takes her own life. Spencer and Alex begin their long and treacherous journey to Montana. In Mombasa, they realize that traditional travel routes would take months. Determined, Spencer signs on as a deckhand aboard a tugboat bound for the Suez Canal, hoping to find faster passage from there. Word of Sister Mary and Alice's deaths reaches Father Renaud. In response, he violently interrogates Tiana's friend Bori and dispatches priests to hunt down Tiana. Alone in the Badlands, Tiana fends off a wolf before encountering a kind crow shepherd named Hank, who disguises her as a boy named Joe and burns her school-issued belongings. Meanwhile, Banner further aligns with Whitfield, whose mining ambitions begin to threaten more than just the Dutton land. Jack and Elizabeth, robbed of their grand wedding, marry quietly on a hillside. Not long after, Elizabeth reveals she is pregnant. Jacob slowly begins to recover. And in Africa, Alexandra insists on joining Spencer's perilous journey to the Suez Canal. Disaster strikes when their tugboat collides with an abandoned French cargo ship and capsizes in shark-infested waters. Miraculously, they survive and are rescued by the SS Lambridge, whose captain agrees to marry them in international waters using his wife's wedding ring. Back in Montana, Kara and Sheriff McDowell begin hiring livestock agents. Kara finally admits to the sheriff that Jacob is alive. The sheriff visits the ranch and warns Jacob that justice will be served for all parties. But Jacob now sees a larger threat: Whitfield. The mining magnate's ambition isn't just financial, it's territorial. Jacob vows to stop his encroachment no matter the cost. Tragedy unfolds once more as Marshall's raid is Sack's home while searching for Tiana. She is killed. Her son arrives to find her body and evidence of the attackers. Hank's son, Pete, reaches him with news that Tiana is hiding in the Badlands. Together, they set out, only to engage in a bloody confrontation with the priests. Though Hank saves Tiana, he is killed in the process. Spencer and Alex arrive in Sicily, only to have a tense encounter with her former fiancé, Arthur. Back in Montana, Banner is arrested at the luxurious home gifted to him by Whitfield. Shocked to see Jacob alive, Banner vows that their war is far from over. Whitfield's network reaches deep. Even one of the new livestock agents is feeding him information. A lawyer is sent to free Banner, and the tension escalates further.